Imagine you are pulling out of your driveway, hearing that faint, rhythmic, metallic click, or feeling a slight shudder as you shift into gear. To most drivers, that is just the sound of an aging car, but to a mechanic, it is the sound of a $5,000 transmission replacement screaming for help. You are likely burning through the lifespan of your vehicle every single day by following habits that are actually mechanical nightmares. This isn't just about general wear and tear, it is about the hidden friction and heat buildup caused by small, repetitive motion that most owners never think to question. I am going to show you how to flip the script and potentially double the life of your drivetrain without spending a dime at a shop. We are breaking down the exact behaviors that are quietly grinding your internal gears into metal shaving, providing you with a step-by-step roadmap to smoother shifts and a cooler engine. Pay close attention to the number one tip, because it involves a universal habit that almost every driver gets wrong, and it is the single fastest way to snap a transmission pawel. Tip number 11. Resting your hand on the shifter. You are cruising down the highway with your right hand comfortably perched on the gear selector, feeling like a relaxed driver. While it feels natural, you might eventually notice a slight vibration or a faint humming coming from the center console. This habit creates a constant, unnecessary pressure on the internal shift fork and mechanical linkages that were never designed to carry the weight of a human arm. Even the slight weight of your hand pushes internal components against rotating parts, leading to premature wear of the bushings and making your gear transitions feel sloppy or loose over time. To fix this, consciously practice the two hands on the wheel rule, or find a dedicated armrest that doesn't contact the lever. If you find your hand wandering back out of habit, try adjusting your seat distance so that reaching the shifter requires a deliberate move rather than a lazy rest. The immediate payoff is a much tighter feel in the gear selector and a significant reduction in long-term cabin vibration. You will know you've succeeded when the gear transitions feel crisp and mechanical rather than mushy. But shifting smoothly is only half the battle if you are making a massive error during your morning commute. Tip number 10. Riding the brakes. Downhill. You are driving down a steep mountain pass or a long highway grade, and you find yourself holding the brake pedal down for several minutes just to keep your speed in check. Suddenly you notice a faint burning smell like hot metal, or the brake pedal starts to feel soft and unresponsive. This happens because constant friction creates extreme heat that boils your brake fluid and glazes your pads, but it also sends a massive amount of thermal energy back into your transmission through the axle seals. When the fluid gets too hot, it loses its ability to lubricate, causing your internal clutches to slip and wear out prematurely. To avoid this, you need to master engine braking by manually selecting a lower gear like L or using your steering wheel paddles before you start the descent. This allows the engine's compression to naturally hold the car back, keeping your foot off the brake 90% of the time. You will immediately notice that your car feels more controlled and your brakes stay cool and firm for when you actually need them. This simple shift in technique saves your pads from melting and prevents your transmission fluid from cooking inside the case. Though even the best cooling won't help if you are making the common mistake of shifting while the car is still rolling. If you're liking these tips and want to keep your car out of the shop, hit that subscribe button right now. Tip number 9. Shifting to park before a full stop. You are in a rush to get into a store, so you flick the gear lever into park while the car is still creeping forward at a snail's pace. You hear a sharp clack, or feel the entire vehicle lurch violently as it grinds to a halt. This happens because you are forcing a small metal pin, called the parking pawel, to jam into a spinning gear to stop several tons of moving steel. This component is designed to hold a stationary car, not to act as a primary brake, and repeated abuse will eventually snap the pin or shear off the gear teeth. To fix this, make it a non-negotiable rule to feel the car's momentum hit zero before your hand even touches the shifter. Hold the brake pedal firmly, shift to park, and only then release your foot to ensure the weight is distributed safely. You will immediately notice the absence of that disturbing thud when you restart the car and shift back into drive later. This simple pause protects the most delicate mechanical lock in your transmission. But even a perfect stop won't save you if you're idling with the wrong foot technique. Tip number 8. Revving in drive while idling. You are sitting at a long red light or in heavy traffic, and you find yourself absent-mindedly blipping the throttle or holding the revs slightly high while your foot is firm on the brake. You might notice the car straining against the brakes or feel a subtle, low-frequency vibration through the floorboard. This happens because your engine is trying to spin the torque converter, the fluid coupling between the engine and transmission, while the wheels are locked in place. This friction generates massive amounts of internal heat in the transmission fluid, which is the #1 killer of automatic gearboxes. To stop this, keep your foot off the gas entirely whenever the car is in gear and stationary. If you need to rev the engine for any reason, shift the car into neutral first to disconnect the physical load from the internal clutches. You will immediately notice a smoother, quieter idle, and a drop in your transmission's operating temperature over long drives. Keeping that fluid cool is the cheapest insurance you can get, but even the coolest fluid won't help if you're using the wrong type of liquid altogether. Tip number 7. Using incorrect transmission fluid. You are at the auto parts store looking at a wall of colorful bottles, and you grab the cheapest universal transmission fluid because the label says it works for most models. A few days later, you notice your car shifts harder than usual or feels like it is hunting for the right gear at highway speeds. This happens because modern automatic transmissions are precision instruments with specific viscosity and friction requirements. Using the wrong fluid causes the internal clutches to slip or chatter, leading to a massive buildup of metallic debris that eventually clogs the entire valve body. To avoid a total rebuild, always check your owner's manual or the engraving on the dipstick for the exact specification, such as Dexron, Mercon V, or a specific manufacturer code. If you have already added the wrong fluid, perform a professional flush immediately rather than waiting for a scheduled service. You will feel an immediate return to buttery smooth shifts and notice a significant drop in operating noise. Ensuring your fluid matches your hardware is the ultimate way to prevent internal bruising, but even the right fluid won't save you if you're skipping the most basic maintenance step. Tip number 6. Skipping scheduled fluid services. You are looking at your odometer and realize you've passed the 60,000-mile mark without ever touching your transmission fluid, but since the car still drives fine, you decide to ignore it for another year. Eventually, you might notice the gear changes feeling slightly delayed, or a faint burnt toast smell coming from under the hood. This happens because transmission fluid isn't just a lubricant, it is a hydraulic fluid that wears out, loses its cooling properties, and becomes saturated with microscopic metal shaving. These contaminants act like sandpaper on your internal seals and valves, slowly eroding the very parts that make your car move. To fix this, check your manual for the severe service interval, which applies to most city drivers, and stick to a drain and fill schedule every 30,000 to 50,000 miles. Avoid the lifetime fluid myth, as no oil lasts forever under the high heat of daily driving. You will immediately notice crisper, more predictable shifting, and a much quieter transmission tunnel. Keeping your fluid fresh is the simplest way to prevent a catastrophic internal clog. But even clean fluid can't protect you if you're putting too much weight on the hitch. Tip number 5. Towing without a proper cooling setup. You are pulling a small trailer or a boat on a hot summer weekend, and you notice your engine temperature gauge climbing or a distinct hot smell coming from the front of the car. This happens because towing adds a massive mechanical load that your transmission fluid must translate into motion, which generates extreme thermal energy. Most factory cooling systems are only designed for the weight of the vehicle and passengers. Exceeding that without an auxiliary cooler will cook your fluid in under an hour. When fluid overheats, it breaks down chemically, leaving your internal clutches to grind against each other without protection. To protect your car, always verify your vehicle's maximum towing capacity, and, if you plan to tow regularly, install an aftermarket transmission oil cooler. This simple radiator-like device sits in front of your main radiator and drops fluid temperatures by as much as 40 degrees. You will immediately feel the car pull more consistently without the transmission hunting for gears or slipping under load. Keeping your temperatures in the safe zone is the only way to prevent a total meltdown. But even a cool transmission can be destroyed if you don't respect the laws of physics during a cold start. Tip number 4. Ignoring warm-up on cold starts. You hop into your car on a freezing morning, slam it into drive, and immediately floor the gas to merge into traffic. You notice a harsh shudder or a delayed, clunky shift as the car struggles to find the next gear. This happens because transmission fluid thickens significantly in the cold, losing its ability to flow through the tiny hydraulic passages that control your shifts. When you demand high power before the fluid thins out, you are essentially forcing a thick sludge through a needle-sized hole, which creates massive internal pressure and starves your clutches of lubrication. To fix this, give your car at least 30 seconds to a minute of idling before you pull away, and drive gently for the first 2 miles. Keep your RPMs low until the temperature gauge starts to move, allowing the fluid to reach its optimal operating viscosity naturally. You will immediately notice smoother, quieter gear transitions and a complete lack of that cold start slip that scares most drivers. Letting the heat build slowly is the secret to preserving your seals, but even a warm engine can't save you if you're using the wrong gear on a steep incline. Tip number 3. Downshifting aggressively on hills. You are heading down a steep grade and decide to slam the shifter into a much lower gear at high speed to save your brakes. You hear the engine scream as the RPMs spike toward the red line and feel a violent jolt that throws you forward in your seat. This happens because you are forcing the transmission's internal clutches to sync the engine speed with the wheel speed instantly, creating a massive torque spike. This shock loading can snap internal bands or overheat the fluid in seconds, turning a helpful braking maneuver into a mechanical disaster. To fix this, always ease into lower gears by braking firmly first to bring your speed down into a safe range for that specific gear. Use your brakes to do the heavy lifting of deceleration, and use the lower gear only to maintain that lower speed. Once you've reached it, you will immediately notice a much smoother transition without the scary engine roar or the kick from the drivetrain. Mastering this balance keeps your transmission from absorbing the car's entire momentum, but even a smooth descent won't help if you're lugging the engine at the wrong time. Tip number 2. Lugging at low RPM. You are trying to save gas by keeping your car in a high gear while climbing a slight incline or accelerating at a very low speed. You notice the steering wheel vibrating, a deep drone sound from the engine, and the car struggling to pick up pace despite you pressing the gas pedal harder. This happens because lugging the engine puts a massive amount of mechanical stress on the transmission's torque converter and internal bearings at a time when fluid pressure is at its lowest. Instead of shifting, the transmission stays locked, forcing the internal components to absorb the raw vibration and high torque pulses from the engine. To fix this, don't be afraid to use your S mode or manually tap the downshift paddle to bring the engine back into its power band. If your car feels like it's struggling or stuttering, simply increase your throttle input slightly to force a downshift and let the transmission breathe. You will immediately notice the vibration disappear and the car pulls smoothly without that straining, guttural noise. Keeping your RPMs in the sweet spot prevents the hammering effect on your gears, but all of these tips lead up to the number 1 most destructive habit that kills more transmissions than anything else. Tip number 1. Shifting between drive and reverse while rolling. You are backing out of a tight parking spot or performing a quick 3-point turn, and you flick the lever from reverse to drive while the car is still drifting backward. You hear a sharp metallic clunk and feel the entire chassis shudder as the transmission desperately tries to change the direction of its internal rotation. This happens because you are using the transmission's internal clutches and bands as a primary brake, forcing them to stop several tons of moving steel instantly. This creates a massive torque spike that can snap a planetary gear set or a sun gear in a split second, leading to a total mechanical failure that leaves you stranded. To fix this, treat your brake pedal as the only tool for stopping the vehicle's motion before you ever touch the gear selector. Come to a complete, dead stop, wait 1 heartbeat for the momentum to settle, and then smoothly move the lever to your next gear. You will immediately notice the absence of that jarring thud and a much smoother engagement when you step back on the gas. This 1-second pause is the single most effective way to prevent a $5,000 repair bill and keep your car on the road for years. By cutting out these 11 common mistakes, you are effectively adding years of life to your vehicle and keeping thousands of dollars in your pocket. Remember, your transmission is a precision instrument, and the number 1 tip of stopping completely before shifting is the foundation of its longevity. Take care of these small habits today, and your car will take care of you for the long haul. If you like the content and want to keep your car out of the shop, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Comment below with your car's year and model to join the conversation. To save even more, Watch the recommended video on your screen right now for more money-saving hacks.